House Republicans say no to the president and Democrats' efforts to increase stimulus payments for millions of Americans. I'm Skyler Henry on Capitol Hill with the latest on where a new COVID rescue package stands.
Some area farmers markets are doing something special for the last markets of 2020.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
This Christmas Eve, Congress is preparing for a late December showdown with President Trump after an attempt to increase direct COVID stimulus payments failed in the House. This is KOAM News at 5. So far, the president has not signed the bill, and without it, the government could run out of money next week, and millions of Americans will lose their unemployment benefits. Reporter Skyler Henry is on Capitol Hill with that and the president's latest controversial pardons.
The chair is constrained to not entertain the request.
House Democrats' effort to increase stimulus payments from $600 to $2,000 was blocked Thursday morning by Republicans.
$600 is certainly not enough for individuals who have been struggling these past 7 months.
The move came days after President Trump put the fate of the COVID relief bill in jeopardy by demanding the higher payments after Congress had passed it. The package is attached to a larger spending bill, and without action from the president or Congress, the government could face a shutdown Monday at midnight.
I hope the president looks at this again and reaches that conclusion that the best thing to do is to sign the bill.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi announced lawmakers will return Monday to vote on a standalone bill to increase the stimulus payments. They'll also try to override the president's veto of an essential defense bill. Wednesday night, President Trump announced another round of controversial pardons. He pardoned 2 of his former 2016 campaign associates, Paul Manafort and Roger Stone. Both were prosecuted in connection to special counsel Robert Mueller's investigation of Russia's meddling in the 2016 presidential election. Manafort served around 2 years on tax and bank fraud charges, and Stone was convicted of witness tampering and lying to Congress.
Roger Stone was treated very unfairly, in my opinion.
The president also pardoned Jared Kushner's father, Charles Kushner, who pleaded guilty to witness retaliation and tax charges in 2005. Republican Senator Ben Sasse of Nebraska wrote in a statement, "This is rotten to the core." Skyler Henry, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
President Trump played a round of golf earlier today while staying at his resort in Mar-a-Lago for the holidays. President-elect Joe Biden met with his transition advisors while spending his holidays in his home state of Delaware. Checking in with Nick Kelly now for our first look at the weather. Nick.
Not only are we checking in with weather, Dow, we're keeping an eye on Santa, still across the pond over the Atlantic, and he's been make that crisscrossing rather across parts of Europe and Africa. He's in northern Africa right now, but it won't be until later on tonight as we'll start to see St. Nick make his way closer to our neck of the woods. In the meantime, though, we've enjoyed partly sunny skies, quiet skies all day. Even the water view shows any big storm systems being confined to the Great Lakes and parts of the eastern seaboard. Other than that, it's definitely cold, that's for sure. We're already sitting in the lower and the middle 30s, and we are set for a cold Christmas Eve night and heading into Christmas morning as temperatures fall through the 20s. I think we'll drop back to 18 by the midnight hour, 16 by 3 a.m., but we'll start at 14, but then we'll look a lot better for Christmas Day. Even though it won't be a white Christmas, we'll enjoy highs around 41, and we'll see how we look after the Christmas holiday. Coming up in a bit, Dow.
All right, we'll catch you then. Thanks, Nick. A couple of local farmers markets are ending the year on a high note. Joplin Empire Market held Tinsel and Tidings, a festive market filled with Christmas desserts, foods, and all kinds of last-minute gifts. It was the last market of the year, so organizers wanted to do something fun after months of challenges and changes brought on by the pandemic.
Christmas Eve has always been my favorite, day of the year. It's just that whole anticipation thing. Everybody's kind of off work, getting kind of giddy, and at 4 o'clock today, then we all get to go home, spend time with our families, and kind of just make a party out of the last few hours that we're open here.
The Webb City Farmers Market also held their final market of the season today. We're going to have more on that for you tonight at 6. Every year, Wreaths Across America raises money to place wreaths on graves of veterans at national cemeteries nationwide, including the one in Fort Scott. However, this year, due to COVID-19, locally, they weren't able to raise enough money and had enough wreaths for only half of the more than 6,000 graves. So a woman from Fort Scott stepped up and did what she could to bring in more money. Then an anonymous donor gave her a call.
He was willing to buy the balance of the wreaths to do Fort Scott National Cemetery. And he wanted to do this anonymously. He said that the reason he was doing it was not for his name to be known, but that because it was a thing to do for every soldier laid here.
Tucker says a local company has stepped up with a matching donation for every wreath bought for next year. Tonight at 6, we're going to have more on how you can help in 2021. Now today's KOAM News Now Instapoll. Our question is, what midnight treat would Santa appreciate most? Something sweet, something healthy, caffeine, or alcohol? You can vote at KOAMnewsnow.com/vote or through the KOAM News Now mobile app. Results are updated live, and we're going to be checking in on them periodically throughout KOAM News at 5, then have the final results on KOAM News at 6. Still ahead, protecting your deliveries.
Millions of packages are stolen during the holiday season. I'm Michelle Medina with how neighbors are stepping up to stop porch pirates.
And next in Health Watch, why experts are warning of a rise in coronavirus deaths in the coming weeks, even as vaccinations are beginning. A lot of Americans probably want to get out and celebrate the end of 2020, but the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention is urging people to stay home on New Year's Eve. The CDC published guidelines saying the safest way to celebrate the new year is at home with people you live with or online with friends and family. However, if you are hosting a gathering, the CDC suggests you stay outside, limit the number of guests, have extra masks on hand, and keep music low to avoid shouting. The coronavirus is now blamed for more than 327,000 deaths in the U.S. out of 18.5 million confirmed cases. Experts are warning that those numbers will explode in the coming weeks despite the rollout of 2 vaccines. Elise Preston reports from New York.
Public health experts believe the post-holiday coronavirus surge will be the biggest of the pandemic.
The model predicts that the worst is yet to come.
Millions of Americans are on the move this holiday season, defying officials' advice to stay put. As of Wednesday, hospitals were treating a record 119,000 COVID-19 patients. In some areas, they're running out of room.
No matter how safe you think you or your loved ones have been, that perception is a false reality.
On Wednesday, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis signed an executive order giving senior citizens priority for the vaccines over certain essential workers.
People that are 73, 74 would be in the back of the line for a young 21-year-old worker who's considered, quote, essential. That doesn't, I think, make sense.
The federal government was hoping to vaccinate 20 million people by the end of this year. But as of yesterday, just over 1 million had gotten their first dose.
The chief operating officer of Operation Warp Speed says the logistics are still being worked out, though not on the shipping side.
So it's been a big week of delivery of vaccines. We are delivering the 7.9 million doses of vaccine that were allocated for this week around the country.
In Washington state, Levy Theriot was one of the first nursing home residents to roll up her sleeve. For the 92-year-old, it was a moment to celebrate the beginning of the end of the pandemic. Elise Preston, CBS News, New York.
Even with the mass immunization program underway, a leading disease model projects the death toll will climb to at least 567,000 by April. A new drug treatment could significantly improve survival in patients suffering with acute myeloid leukemia. AML is a blood cancer that becomes more common with age, with the majority of older patients dying within 2 years of diagnosis. A global clinical trial showed the drug CC486 produced a 30% survival improvement for patients over the age of 55. Psychologists say children are learning to read facial expressions even when they're covered with masks. Researchers at the University of Wisconsin showed children pictures of people displaying various emotions. Even when the faces were masked, the kids correctly identified sadness 28% of the time, anger 27% of the time, and fear 18% of the time. Don't forget to vote in our KOAM News Now Instapoll. Again, our question today is, what midnight treat would Santa appreciate most? 49% say something sweet. Nobody says something healthy. 7% say caffeine. Alcohol, 44%. You can join in the conversation by voting at KOAMnewsnow.com/vote or through the KOAM News Now mobile app. Nick is up next with a complete look at the forecast. And a little bit later, U.S. cybersecurity officials say the SolarWinds cyber attack was more extensive than previously thought.
Hard to believe we were enjoying almost record warmth a few days ago, but leave it to Mother Nature to bring us back to reality appropriately enough as we approached Christmas Day proper. We had highs early yesterday morning, right around 60 degrees, plummeted throughout the day down into the lower 20s this morning. The best we could do today was highs, as advertised, right around 34 degrees this afternoon. Thankfully, we'll go a little bit milder for tomorrow. It'll still be cool for Christmas Day, but even though we're not going to have a white Christmas, at least we can keep things pretty quiet if you want to do any very local travel across the area tomorrow. Going into early next week, though, I am watching not only rain and snow chances wanting to sneak back into the forecast, but eventually a cold end to 2020 and to kick off the new year ahead of us. Hard to believe it's approaching us by next Friday. Looking outside from the station's rooftop, though, a little bit of cloud cover, sure, but it's not a bad looking sky on this Christmas Eve. 31 degrees, feels like 21 with that northwest wind at about 14 miles per hour. Everybody across the area in the upper 20s near Stockton Lake to the lower 30s pretty much elsewhere. Maybe a few areas in the mid 30s the closer you get to Tulsa, but everyone's going to be cold tonight. We'll continue to fall through the 20s well after sunset. 18 by midnight, I think we'll be in the mid-teens. So one of the coldest nights of the season so far, but no big weather worries for Santa or for you if you're going to be out and about late tonight, certainly for any very local get-togethers tomorrow. Any big storm systems on the board is off to the east of us across the Great Lakes, where we have some snow ongoing, and even with some severe weather working through parts of Georgia and Florida. That storm system, not an issue for us. We're going to keep things quiet with a couple areas of high pressure and even the cold front that snuck on through and kept us cold today. And while this main upper low is keeping us cold for a few more days, we'll eventually see a few more upper lows out west try to play havoc with our weather as we head after the Christmas holiday. In the meantime, though, we're looking okay for tonight. Skies turning mostly clear, but with that and the northwest breeze, that's sending us up for a cold night. And look at how we drop into the mid-teens, no matter where you are across the area tonight. But for Christmas Day, not looking so bad. It'll feel like Christmas, though, once we start at 14 in the morning. Eventually, though, look at the wind. Westerly in the afternoon, turning more southwesterly. That'll push us to 36 by noon, and we will do better with temperatures. Highs near 41 in Joplin on your Christmas Day, with everyone else mainly in the lower 40s. Wouldn't be surprised if we had some mid-40s, though, the farther west you go from Joplin and 69. Looking down the road, though, we'll keep quiet for Saturday. Then another quick upper-level low wants to sneak by on Sunday. That'll bring us some cloud cover and just the slimmest chance for a few showers on Sunday. That's about it with that wave. But then as we head toward Monday and Tuesday of next week, a stronger system wants to head our way. This could bring in some rain and possibly some snow chances, so that's the next bigger storm system to keep an eye on as we go into the final week of 2020. But 41, cool, and mostly sunny for your Christmas Day. Near 60 on Saturday. Then we'll watch for increasing rain chances starting maybe on Sunday, but definitely by early next week now.
It's going to be a good night to throw an extra Yule log on that fire, I think.
Anything you can keep warm on a cold night ahead of us.
I guess so. Thanks, Nick. Coming up, taking steps to stop porch pirates. First, though, we honor a local veteran. Jerry Mason served in the U.S. Army from 1980 to 1998. The hometown, Pittsburgh. And we salute Sergeant First Class Jerry Mason, a four-state hero. A cyber attack into IT management company SolarWinds was more extensive than originally thought. The U.S. Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency now says the attack hit computer systems used by state and local governments. That's in addition to federal agencies and private companies. Faulty Takata airbags are causing yet another recall. Volkswagen is recalling more than 100,000 Beetles because the front driver's airbags can explode and hurl shrapnel. The recall covers Beetle models from 2012 to 2014. Dealers will replace the airbags at no cost starting in February. More than 24 people worldwide have been killed by exploding Takata airbags. Excedrin is recalling 433,000 bottles of its over-the-counter pain relievers. Due to manufacturing defect, the bottles might have a hole in the bottom, posing a risk that children could access and swallow the pills. The 5 affected products were sold between March and September of this year. So far, there have been no reported injuries. Bottles without holes can still be used, and customers can get a refund for damaged products. Analysts believe Americans bought a record number of holiday gifts online this year because of the coronavirus crisis. That's given criminals more opportunities to play the Grinch and steal those deliveries. But now neighbors are teaming up to stop them. Nichelle Medina reports.
A driver delivering a package is a common sight during the holidays. Unfortunately, so is this. A woman who was following the truck went on Rob Trigg's porch and took it.
It's devastating, I will tell you that, especially when you come home and you're expecting those packages to be there.
Lucky for Trigg, his next-door neighbor was watching from the window and called police. Authorities caught up with her and found a number of packages inside her car.
We have such great neighbors. We all take care of each other.
Neighbors are taking care of each other nationwide. In Northern California, Isaac Fisher has started a Porch Pirate Patrol.
Since a lot of us are working from home, including me, this is something we can do for our neighbors.
Last year, the security company Safewise estimated some 2 million packages were swiped from homes every day, and that was before the pandemic led to an increase in online shopping. So Isaac asked neighbors to step outside when they see a delivery truck.
If people see people coming out on their porch, that could be a deterrent.
It worked in New Jersey, where Jenny Schaefer saw this man reach down and pick up a package from her neighbor's porch.
I thought, not on our street. So I immediately went out the front door and onto my porch and started yelling at him.
He eventually left empty-handed. In Texas, a man was able to steal items from several homes, but quick-thinking neighbors contacted police and shared their security footage, which led to an arrest. Nichelle Medina, CBS News, San Diego.
All right, let's take another look at our KOAM News Now Insta poll. Again, we asked you, what midnight treat would Santa appreciate most? So far, half, 50% say something sweet. Nobody says he wants something healthy. 8% say caffeine. 42% say alcohol. Still have time to vote at KOAMNewsNow.com/vote or through the KOAM News Now mobile app. We're going to have final results on the poll on KOAM News at 6. Final check of the forecast is next. The CBS Evening News is next. Then on KOAM News at 6, Missouri Governor Mike Parson announces pardons and commutations for dozens of low-level offenders, including a Joplin man. Plus, Santa was in Miami, Oklahoma today, but he opted for a ride other than his sleigh. And how the upcoming Neosho Holiday Classic basketball tournament is doing things a little bit differently this year. Stay with us for the CBS Evening News and then KOAM News at 6. Hey, just when you thought 2020 couldn't get any more strange, KFC is introducing a new gaming console shaped like a bucket. It includes a built-in chicken chamber to keep your chicken warm while you're playing video games, because of course we need this. The KFC console is powered by Intel processors and has 1 terabyte of data storage. Cooler Master, which partnered with KFC to build this thing, says it has a custom-built cooling system to keep the hardware at a regular temperature. Still, don't lick your fingers. Let's check in with Nick Kelly.
I'm going to pass on that console, even though that bucket of chicken might keep us warm tonight. But we are going to do better with temperatures tomorrow on our Christmas Day. Mostly sunny, highs are 41. Then we'll watch for additional rain chances with a few storm systems by early next week.
Thanks, Nick, and thank you for joining us. The CBS Evening News is next, and of course, we'll be right back here for KOAM News at 6. In the meantime, let's take care of ourselves and each other.